What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. As a black man, I want to speak to Asian people. Because it seems like everybody else observe African American culture, what we're doing, how we go about doing things, what our problems are, right? What they like about us, right? Everybody can dive within the black culture, right? Whether it be African American culture, African culture, and they have their opinions and their assessments and things like that. So, as a black person who constantly finds himself on the Asian side of YouTube, TikTok, and all that, I don't know how I get over there, right? But somehow it's kind of flooding my timelines, and so I watch it because I'm interested in what other people are doing and saying. And plus, I have a lot of experience in Asia myself, as I used to live in Japan, right? So a lot of things that I'm seeing now and the things that I have experienced and observed on the ground, they correlate. And I figured, let me go ahead and say something to any Asian that's looking at me, right? Maybe this video will get over there, right? To see what it is that an African American can assess, the issues that Asian people are having. And the big issue I see with you guys right now is you guys are not having sex. That's basically the problem y'all have, right? And because of that, a lot of the countries, right, that you guys, have they're going extinct as well, right? Like Japanese people, Koreans, who else? Chinese. All of you guys are going extinct, right? Due to the policies of the people that you guys put in charge or the people that force themselves to be in charge of you, right? And you guys are trying to figure out what to do about that, right? Now, what I've noticed is the reason why you guys are going extinct is because socially, you guys are incels. Very incel, right? Economically, you guys work entirely too much. As an American, I know that the reason why Americans are not having babies because they can't afford it. That's number one. And they don't have time during the day, right? And even with the stressful work life of Americans, I know and observed and seen for my own self, the stressful work life of Japanese people and Chinese people make the work life of Americans look like nothing. Okay? You guys work entirely too much, right? Some of you have this thing where you feel like you're supposed to be loyal to one corporation and work for them for your entire life. Like, that's the way it's supposed to go. Like, y'all have this Bushido code, samurai code mentality with the way you guys operate. And, that shit didn't work out for the samurai either. Samurai were abused, right? Samurais were slaves. Remember that. Remember, samurais were, like, you guys glorify samurais, right? It's y'all market, y'all samurais, but, in real life, samurais were warrior slaves who were sexually molested by the person that owned them. Yeah. Sexually molested boys who were sexually molested by their owners, and they had to, protect their owners, the ones that were sexually molesting them. And when their owners, died or committed seppuku, you also, was supposed to go with them, right? That's true, right? Slave, right? And you guys carry that same tradition and mentality onto the modern day, to where you are a slave. You toil through your educational system, which is all like your educational system is you're a slave, right? Where you're stressed out. Y'all guys are barely allowed to be children. You guys are barely allowed to be children because you have such a rigid and tight a system of discipline. Now, I love discipline like anybody else, but your level of discipline in social cohesion is so tight that you guys are not even allowed to express yourself. Like, I've noticed, even my Asian friends, when I was in Asia, y'all have a problem with expressing yourselves because it's unbecoming in your society, right? To express yourselves, right? To stick out, right? It's unbecoming to stand out. You're supposed to be a cog in a machine, a proud cog in that machine. And when that machine thrives, you're supposed to be proud that the machine is thriving, right? So when you go to work, right, you don't get off until your boss get off. And then when your boss get off, want to go to the bar and have a couple drinks, you have to go with him. You have to pander to your boss as if your boss is like some sort of master that has control of your life. You don't even get to have your own personal life, right? Until your boss allows you to have that personal life, right? You guys stay in school too long. I remember when I used to be walking around downtown Japan, and I'd see schools open. It'd be 7, 8, 9 in the night. Your kids are in school, studying for something, studying to memorize something for a test. That's it. It's not making them smarter. They're just memorizing shit for a test. Same way in China. They're not getting smarter. They're just memorizing shit for a test. Stressing your people out so much that there's a whole class, especially in Japan, there's a whole class of people who said, you know what, F society, I'm going to stay in my room for the rest of my life. You have a whole name for it. I can't pronounce it, right? But there's a class of people who take incel to the next level, and they stay in their room for their life. It may be, not always for your life, but sometimes it's for 10 years. They don't go out, they don't work. They don't step outside. Listen, they don't step out their room. They may go to the bathroom if the bathroom's outside, but they don't step out the room, let alone, for the majority of their day. They wake up, they play video games, they eat. The mom takes care of these guys. The mom and the dad take care of them for their entire life because they said that society is too rough, too tough, and I don't want to be a part of it. That in Japan, it's like it's an epidemic. Tens of thousands of people in Japan are just sitting in their rooms playing video games and not associating with anyone outside of their mother and their father and their sisters and brothers. Because that's how bad life is there. As beautiful aesthetically as your places can be, right? Because, from the outside, when you look at Japan, you look at certain places in China, you're like, oh, look how beautiful that is. They're so developed. Look at the marble, look at the sidewalks. All that looks nice. But that's all a facade. That's just the front door. When you go inside, you find out that life sucks, right? Even your jails, even Japanese jails, as peaceful as they are compared to Western jails, they're more psychologically damaging than Western jails. They're more, to be in a Japanese jail, right, is to be in solitary confinement with complete and total control of your every movement and word. And you got to raise your hand and talk at the designated times to talk because you can't really talk. Like, that shit's wild. The way you guys control your societies, right? Doesn't leave space for expression. Doesn't leave space for mistakes. Mistakes are punished, right? And because of that, you guys are stressed out. Y'all don't have sex. In China, to get married, you gotta have a house first. You think we complain in America about women and gold digging women or women that want too much from a man or have lofty ideas of what a man's supposed to provide for them? What we deal with in America is nothing compared to what you guys deal with. You guys have, I can't imagine being a man, and I'm trying to get married, but I gotta have a house first. $100,000 house. I just gotta have it, before we can even get married. On top of the dowry, on top of the extravagant wedding. Who got money like that? Who got it like that? Not many, right? It's too stressful, right? And the women demand it. And on top of that, you guys, the women, shit. Y'all say y'all women ain't no good after what, 27? 30? They leftover women? In Asia, you guys throw your women away so young. Yeah, in America, there's an issue with, not respecting marriage, people not getting married, people because of their work-life balance, not getting married until in their 30s or whatever. That does happen, and that does have a detrimental effect on population because you're supposed to start having babies when your body says it's time to have a baby. I mean, that's how nature works, right? So when you restrict yourself and you go 20 years past when you were supposed to start, you may have some issues, right? But you guys take that shit to the next level. If a woman doesn't get married by 27, she old and she's out of the loop. Hell, if a woman's 30, she's too old to be hired at a job in Japan or China or most Asian countries, to the point to where a woman has to get into a job immediately, a career, and stay there. But God forbid that woman gets pregnant. Holy shit. The nerve of you to get pregnant while you're supposed to be working your ass off 9 days out of a 7-day week, 27 hours out of a 24-hour day for your manager, for your boss. Be damned, you get pregnant. You get punished for it. the nerve of you to think you're supposed to have your own goddamn life. That shit is wild. And another issue you guys got, how restrictive you are on who can marry who. Some of y'all, if you're 25 and the other one's 26, not the same age, can't do it. 25, 27, not the same age, can't do it. Hell, y'all barely can have friends that's not in your age group. Y'all take that age group to the limit. I understand there's a age group blocks of people you should be hanging out, your age group. I understand that, right? But you guys take it to the extreme. You got to be in the year. So you restrict yourselves because you got to find a wife that's within the year that you are when you were born, right? Then she got to like you and be willing to be your suitor out of the other choices that she has, because there's more men than women there, right? Because of fanticide, because the parents expect their sons to take care of them, therefore the sons are more valuable, right? And the one-child policy in China and various other policies that make it so there's more men than women in Asia, right? So the women have the choice of whatever, as long as they're pretty and symmetrical, right? As long as they're perfect, right? Because the women got to be perfect, like in South Korea. That shit's ridiculous. Your industry that y'all have, the pressure that you put on your people to be beautiful, right? Which y'all perceive to be beautiful, and your bleaching products and your clinics where you get plastic surgeries, and you got it's like the women can't even love who they are because the industry, the country itself says what you are is not good enough. What you are, you need to change what you are in order to fit in society. You guys got playgrounds where you got fat shaming on the playground, where you got little planks where if you can't fit through that, you're fat. It's ridiculous. You guys do shit to your kids, and you psychologically damage your children as they come out. Not only got to take a trillion tests, but they get told that they're fat when they're not fat. They get told that they're ugly when they're not ugly. They get told to improve themselves and be better than who they are, or they won't be accepted by society. Imagine that goddamn pressure. When you think the West was restrictive when it comes to that, or the pressure they put on society, ain't got nothing on you Koreans. Y'all got 0-calorie shops everywhere. Y'all got facial goddamn reconstructive surgery everywhere. You gotta have a certain nose, a certain, like if your bridge, if the angles ain't right, it's a problem. Like, it's ridiculous. It's so artificial and not natural. Y'all got a lot of things about y'all culture that y'all need to change, or you will disappear. You would disappear. And that's why I've noticed that when Asian people get around black people, because we're the opposite when it comes to that expression thing. We express ourselves. Black people, African people, no matter where you go, we are the ultimate form of expression. We don't hide our emotions. We don't restrict ourselves, right, to man-made constructs of how you are supposed to be. We don't hide our emotions. And that manifests itself even in the United States as black people. We're the most vocal because we don't mind telling you how we feel. We don't mind telling you when you're hurting us. We don't mind telling you when you're stressing us out. We don't mind telling you when you're doing something wrong. We don't conform to society to the point to where we're just going to shut up and be good little cogs in the machine. That's what makes us dangerous. And I notice Asian people, when they get around black folks, right, when they feel that energy of expression, it's infectious to them and they like it. That's one thing I know Asians like about black people is how freely we express ourselves, how strong we are, how we just, how we shine, right? We just shine no matter what. No matter what. You could attack us, we're going to shine. And because of that, we live a better quality of life socially than you Asian people. Because you Asian people restrict your shine. Y'all have it, but you restrict it. And anytime someone steps out of line and tries to express their shine, your systems crush them, right? And that's a problem because this is your system. This is not the white system, all right? Y'all were crushed by that white European system on top of the system you already have. Y'all put way too much pressure on yourselves to be perfect. When perfection is impossible and uniformity is boring, right? The thing that makes you different from the other person is the thing that makes you you, right? And I believe that just like every culture has things that they may have been doing for thousands of years that needs to change, right? As a black person, there are things in my culture that seriously need to change. Despite all the good stuff that we have, there are things in the black culture that seriously needs to change. I mean, it seriously needs to change, right? And we have to change that. right? Because all culture is not good culture, no matter how old and ancient it is. No matter how much tradition it's steeped in, it's not all good culture, right? And so Asians have aspects to their culture that they have to drastically change, or else. There's not like you don't have an option. You don't have an option. And another thing, the culture that you have creates a system of colorism and of racism, because you can't, as nations, you can't kumbaya with African nations, kumbaya in fellowship with black folks, which you're going to have to do, which I know y'all like to do anyway. Like, so that's not really an issue. But, you know, and this is usually for the older ones, you got to understand that colorism within your communities, which is ridiculous because you're talking about spectrums of brown that are so close. It's asinine and ridiculous that you actually judge each other based off those slight differences. It's asinine. It is completely, it's a mental illness. All right. You can't discriminate against the different hues within your own group and then fellowship with black folks, because those different hues will be like, well, how is it that you can skip colorism, discriminate against us while fellowshipping with people who are the examples of what you say is bad? Because they are dark, they are black, they are big, they are strong, they are the opposite of what uniformity in our Asian communities is. So you can't skip having relationships. You can't skip dealing with the colorism and the insecurities of your own people. You can't skip that in fellowship with African nations, because I see a lot of your Asian countries are trying to make connections with African countries, right? And you have to deal with that because it's very hypocritical, right? To be able to fellowship with Africans on the globe, but then go back to your homelands and discriminate on your slightly browner members of your community, right? Or people whose nose like this. A lot of y'all Asians got one of these, huh? A lot of y'all Asians got one of these. Who told you supposed to have one of these? Who told you that? Who said this was beautiful? This is beautiful. That's beautiful, you know? And the thing is, Asian people should be our natural allies, to be honest. Historically, Africans, Asians have done nothing but trade with each other, even in ancient times. I know white history will have you believe that we have nothing to do with each other, but that Silk Road made it all the way to Africa. That Silk Road made it all the way to Africa. The Eastern Africans have been trading with the Chinese for thousands of years. We've been trading with the Indians, with the Cambodian people, the people that where you see Cambodia or Thailand. We've been trading with that part of the world for thousands of years. There is a long and untaught history between Africans and Asians of commerce, e-commerce, trade. Thousands of years. We have been interacting with each other, and we've rarely fought any wars. We've rarely tried to dominate or take over each other's land. That's what Europeans do, right? Those are the issues you got with Europeans, right? And we are very similar. Even within our cultures, there are things that we do that are very similar. And you guys recognize it and you talk about it all the time, right? And I see it, right? Even some of our languages, African languages and Asian languages line up, and the words mean and are spelled the same way. There's a Mount Everest of history that's never told about that, right? Because Europeans will have you believe the world started in Europe, and as they discovered people, the map populated, like on some of these video games where you can't access the map until you finally drive into it, and all of a sudden the world populates. That's how Europeans say it. When they got there, that's when the shit happened, right? Everything manifested itself when the white eyeballs placed their white eyeballs upon it, and then it manifested, right? But yeah, you Asian people are gonna have to change your culture all the way. You're gonna have to start expressing yourselves to each other, right? And you're gonna have to start. You Asian women are gonna have to start respecting your Asian man, because there's a lot of, I see that a lot, man. I see a lot of Asian women disrespecting Asian men in order to seek the validation of white men, or sometimes black men, which is not cool. That's just not cool. That's not. It shouldn't be a cool thing for an Asian woman to come online and say I don't date Asian men, or to make fun of Asian men in front of white men. Because I see that shit all the time. It's wild. You demasculate your men, but yet you expect your men to meet a standard at which that most people can't meet, which is not realistic in real life. But you still hold these standards, and you wonder why you end up being 30 and single and can't get a goddamn job because nobody wants you. So you got these women with these high standards, but their market value in Asia is only good from like what, 18 to like 25, something like that, and you start going downhill. You only got this amount of time to get what you got to get with your high standards within your age range, right? And then the men, they got to be millionaires, right? Or they got to go into debt in order to maybe possibly have an opportunity to marry a woman, right? And spend the rest of his money, and then they be broke together within a system that doesn't help the local people rise. Because just like Western society, Chinese society is not built to make the average individual rich or give them opportunities. It's meant to keep the people who are rich to stay rich, and the people who are in power to stay in power, and their children to stay rich and stay in power. That's the point, right? So I think, as me looking in, observing, that you guys probably should get rid of, things like that age thing. It's okay if you're 23 and the other one's 27. That shouldn't be an issue. You should change that, right? Give yourself more opportunity, right? You guys should not care about dowry. Y'all should get rid of that shit. The dowry, people ain't got it like that. Get rid of that shit, right? You shouldn't care about, it shouldn't be a qualifier to have a 100,000 plus house, and I'm saying it in US so people understand, 100,000, 400,000, $1 million house to get married. It shouldn't be like that, right? Stop restricting yourself on that, right? You also should express yourselves and relieve the tension that you build up from your ridiculous work culture. Ridiculous, right? You should stop that, right? You should go home when it's time to go home. Y'all, collectively, your offices should get together and say, we're not doing this no more. Stop giving corporations the ability to have employees they can abuse for a lifetime. Stop giving them that ability. And that's going to be a tough one, because it will cause a lot of you guys will have to, y'all might have to protest that. That must have to be a national conversation. Look, work-life balance. You go to work 8 hours and go home. Let you have the rest of the day for yourself. Maybe just work 5 days and not 18 days out of a 7-day work week. So that way you can go enjoy all the beautiful things that your country has built with all of y'all hard labor, right? You guys shouldn't have certain standards with dating each other, right? And stop utilizing your ego as a vehicle for improvement, because the level of ego is stopping you guys from recreating. Your ego is killing you, right? Your rigid egos and standards and rigidness is killing you guys off, because you don't have no opportunity to fall in love, no opportunity to express yourself, no opportunity to get it out. That's why you got people hiding from society, laying flat, right? That's why you got people doing that, right? It's time for a drastic change in your societies, socially, economically, right? And then it's time for you to have a different, learn how to express yourselves. That's where it's wonderful to engage with other people's cultures, right? To see how they do it, right? And you can emulate that, make it your own, and try to do it. Take the best aspects, right, of other people's culture and try to implement some of that if it will benefit you, right? That's what you should do, right? Because when you guys have fun, when y'all finally get a chance to party, holy shit, right? It's a different level of partying. When you guys finally get a day off, whenever that happens, and y'all get to go out, the way you Japanese people party specifically, because I know the way Japanese people party when they finally have a moment for themselves, you can tell that they're letting out so much stress that they do things that if the average American were to observe it, they wouldn't be able to. They'd be like, what is going on here? What is this? They would have fun though. It would be fun. You'd be like, is this? It would confuse you. Now, I mean, because you guys are letting it all out at once. You see, in America, we let it out. The way they let us let it out is we get a bunch of holidays and we get the weekends off, and that's when they let a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. America lets it off, right? But you guys, when you guys let it off, it's wild. It's like you guys are on DMT, mushroom, which you guys are actually, because y'all do a lot of drugs. Y'all Asian people do a lot of drugs, right? Y'all real hush hush about it, but especially the psychedelics and shit, y'all be on that. I remember that shit. You go into any club in Japan, somebody selling drugs, and it's legal. Somebody in the middle of the dance floor with his hand up in the air like this, with a bag full of pills, and he's selling it right on the dance floor. That's how y'all do in Japan. every club, drugs being sold on the dance. Y'all popping pills on the dance floor. That's how much y'all try to escape y'all actual life when y'all go and finally get a moment off, right? You shouldn't have to go balls to the wall to relax yourself every time. There should be a way to have a valve to release that steam so it can be even killed. Because when I participated in y'all activities, I couldn't sustain. I can't do that shit every day. Like that shit, I can't do that. That's too much. Too much fun. Too much, whatever you call it. I can't. That's wild. Okay, I had a great time, but still, it's unsustainable. All right. So I'm just saying, you Asian people should most definitely look at the systems that you come from. I know that's why a lot of Asian people come to the U.S. because it's a relief, right? You know, from that type of lifestyle. But you know, you people who want to continue to live in your countries, you guys might have to start national conversations about how we have to dramatically change this. Because all you guys got to do is start fucking. That's it. Y'all need more time for yourselves, more free time for yourselves. Y'all need to unrestrict the restrictions that y'all have on yourselves, because this is all self-imposed, right? And if you do those two things and you allow your children, right, to be children, that's a novel concept too. At least for a little while. At least I'm not saying lower your educational standards. I'm saying modify it. You guys are really good at modifying things. You should modify your education to give your children time to socialize as children outside of a competitive academic environment, right? And then, you know, create a system at which when they go into the workforce, they can have a more balanced life-work balance. Because right now, it's just work, right? To the point to where you guys are now realizing it and creating what do you call social value programs within your countries, where older folks are finally going to adult playgrounds. When y'all should have been going to playgrounds when y'all were younger, learning how to play, right? But now you guys are adults trying to learn how to play, right? Because you have never had the opportunity to play. Play is important for life and development and socialization, right? So you guys need to play more, work less, be more efficient in your work, and play more, and stop being so restrictive in what's socially accepted as far as, you know, who can be with who and how those relationships are supposed to work and how do we get into those relationships. And I'm sure that people outside of your Asian community could take this advice too, because we all need it on a certain level, right? But at the same time, you guys need that so you can go back to community. Go back to knowing who that person who lives next to you is, knowing a little bit more about the person you work with lives, having friends where y'all do things outside of work, you know? So that's just my observation, right? And I want nothing but the best for the Asian community, because I really like Asian people. Most black people we really like Asian people. And we don't like that you guys have issues with us for literally no reason. Like literally, y'all literally, your issues any of you guys will ever have with us is a result of white supremacy. You believing that white is something supreme. All right, that's it. It's a mental illness, and you must recognize it. You know, because we like you. We never did nothing to you. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for us, nobody would watch your movies. We support your male lead roles. We don't never hate on your male lead roles. Remember how good Rush Hour was? You realize that they could have kept going with that movie like they did Fast and the Furious? You remember that? Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker? That's his name, right? I forgot. Dude ain't did nothing in a while. Right? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember the simpatico? That shit it made sense. They made fun. They highlighted the differences between our cultures, but yet we saw the similarities in how we get along. The most old ass Asian, Chinese man, Japanese man, you get that guy, right? And you go get me a young YN. Put them in the same room. Let them have a conversation starter. They'll get along. They'll be best friends. That's how I know we get along so well. We get along very well. You get any Asian woman, old geezer Asian woman, right? And you get what you call a YN, right? my young black brothers, or our young boys. Put them together, let them talk about something. They're going to get along just great. Where I'm from, we talk a lot about the Korean, Chinese places, the Chinese restaurants that's dotted all over our black communities and stuff. Keep in mind, they were only able to get those places. They were forced to go there. They had no choice. So it's not like they are the problem. It's the mechanism that forced them not to be able to go where they want to go. That's the problem. But when you go into a lot of these Chinese restaurants who are really just Koreans, pretending to be Chinese, because a Korean told me that. He said, we all Korean. He said, we just call them Chinese. They use it, right, to cover themselves, but they're mostly Korean. The mama-san, you get a good one that respects the people that come into her shop. Her shop is protected. Nobody robbing that. Matter of fact, she's going to have an army. She's going to have a small platoon of black folks that just hovers around her shop to make sure ain't shit happen. It happens all the time around here. We get along. They hook them up with some free stuff. They go in there and they provide unofficial security. Now, the liquor stores is another thing, right? I'm talking about the little carryouts and stuff, right? We get along with the mama-san. Even in the liquor stores. And I ain't going to lie. Around here, even the Koreans, they hire black folks. They do. Even in the hair salons, they hire black folks. That's never been an issue. I know it may not be like that around the rest of America, but legitimately, the Asians and the blacks work pretty well here together. There's no problems here. We get along great. We do. We don't have real problems. Any problems that we Asian and black people have is artificial and somebody else started it. Right? So, I'm hoping that you guys do something to change your cultures, your various different cultures that you have in order to survive. Because right now, white people are not your biggest enemy. It's your survival. It's your mentality, right? Because white folks in Western society has proven to you that the way they say that society should be ran is not good because it causes extinction. It causes self-extinction. So that means you need to go back to doing things the Asian way, but in a better, more modern way. Modify your culture to fit the world of today. So you guys can be here tomorrow. But I'm not sure, as a black man, if I want to live in a world where I can't go to Asia and see Asian people. Be honest. I don't want that. I don't want to live in a world where there are no Asian people. Now the other ones, I'm cool with that. But you guys, no, man. 'Cause y'all got some cool aspects to, a lot of cool aspects to your culture. And y'all cook. Y'all put seasoning in y'all food. Asian people put seasoning. Have you ever heard of us complain about Asian people not having seasoning in their food? That's how we know you got the spirit. All right? Y'all eat chitlins like we eat. Matter of fact, y'all go well beyond. Y'all eat it all. Okay, y'all got us beat on what you're willing to eat. And that's me coming from Africa. And when I go to Africa, they eat everything. But you guys will eat everything and nothing that was part of that. Like, y'all got us beat. All right? I don't know how y'all manage to get some of that stuff. I don't know, like, it's in there, right? But y'all make it taste good, right? So, what I'm saying? I would like you guys to continue on and thrive the way you guys been thriving. You guys have coming out of colonialism successfully, right? Even though some of y'all countries are having some issues, right? But I think it's time for you guys to adjust yourselves for the future so you can still be here. Pop some babies out. You know what I'm saying? Pop some babies out. Don't be so shy. You guys are so shy. You got to express yourself. Find a way to express yourself. The ladies are shy. The men are shy. You can't be shy. You got to get out there and make yourself uncomfortable for a good reason, and the ladies need to allow the men to be uncomfortable. Let them, let them be uncomfortable and try to suit you. And you don't be so rigid and don't be so picky because you're going to be picky all the way to nothingness. You understand? All right. So get rid of these commercial standards at which you believe has to be baseline, right? You can have them as a dream, but, find another baseline that makes sense, that makes more sense in reality, okay? Anyway, that was about 1 to 2 cents. This is random. I've been thinking about this for quite a while, so I figured, this ain't really got nothing to do with Pan-Africanism at all, right? But I know I have different people looking at me. I talk to white folk, right? And I talk to Asian folk, because I'm a worldly individual. Yes, I'm a Pan-African, a pro-black, bigoted black, everything. But I'm a humanitarian at the end of the day. I love all people. I just wish, all people would get along and figure shit out on their own. And then when they figure shit out on their own, you come together with other groups and we can figure it out together. So anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
I pray all of the billionaires who exploit the lower class fucking die. And they get licked down, put in the ground, dug up, and then fucking told to die again. Bitch ass fuck. Fuck is you talking about? Amen.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such an extent that you bleach? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.